Scream 7 has just been confirmed, and we're going to get a cliffhanger ending from Scream 6 connecting into 7. Let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Name it.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Allow Pennywise to dance you now.
We're gonna get you.
Oh, Lord on the beast!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes, death is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today I want to remind everyone, it is April 1st, so that intro was a total joke. Today's video is actually going to be about the 3 things Scream 6 needs to avoid to be successful. Recently, the Radio Silence guys said they want to take a risk-it-all approach with this, but there are 3 risks that they could take that I think would absolutely ruin the movie, and we're going to talk about that in just a second here. But first, I'm going to need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Alrighty, so getting into this. Now that we know that they're Matt Bettinelli open and Tyler Gillette, the Radio Silence guys, directing this new Scream 6 film. Obviously, they were the directors on the last movie. It's pretty much the same team coming into Scream 6. They have recently stated that they want to take this risk-it-all approach with Scream 6. Now, there's a few risks that I've heard a few people talking about that they really do not want to see in Scream 6. There are a few risks that might be stepping a little too far past the line. I'm of the opinion I want them to do something different with Scream 6. I really want them to take like massive deviations, but not so much to the point where like it kind of forgets to be a Scream film. And we're gonna get into all 3 of these points now pretty much. And the first one that I have here is killing off another legacy character. I don't think that would really aid this franchise any further. I do want to make this argument though real quick. I think it was really necessary for them to kill Dewey. And why I say that is because Dewey is one of the 3 characters that has been safe in these movies for a long time. And in a lot of ways, it's been fun to see their character development grow up until this point. But it's also a big negative that this franchise has is we know that there's always going to be those 3 characters that have been safe. And in 4 movies, that was the case. Dewey always gave the thumbs up at the ending, and it was just like, yeah, of course he was going to do that. Like, after 4 movies, it gets a little repetitive. You know they're not going to die, and it's really not suspenseful when you have sequences with Ghostface coming after any of these 3 characters, because it's just like, yeah, of course they're gonna live. Like, I never one point in those movies did I think Dewey or Gale or Sidney was going to die. Never did I think that. And when they did it in Scream 5, absolutely blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, no one is safe now. That makes this next film even scarier than literally any of the other ones now because of that. We genuinely don't know if Gale Weathers or Sidney Prescott is going to live through Scream 6 now because Dewey died in the last one. That's suspenseful. That's awesome. And I think honestly that's the big reason why they had to kill Dewey. And another big thing is, out of the 3 legacy characters, I feel like Dewey is the one who had to die. Why? I love him, first and foremost. One of my favorite characters in any slasher franchise. He's a big old goofball, and he has this amazing character arc through the 5 movies he's in. But if he's gonna go out, how else is Dewey gonna die than having a hero's death by saving other people? I just feel like it's really well written. I feel like it's perfect. It's a perfect ending to his story, and it makes the most sense. If you would have killed Gale or Sidney in that last movie, it wouldn't have worked. It really wouldn't have. You had to kill Dewey. He was the only legacy character that is supposed to have a hero's death. It's poetic. It makes sense with his character. I think it works really well. Now, if you kill anyone else, though, I feel like it's not going to work. I don't think Gale Weathers needs to die to complete her story. I think she deserves a really happy ending. And same with Sidney Prescott. I think that now that we're in suspense of killing these characters, you got to tease that going into this next movie, but don't do it. Teasing it, though, makes it suspenseful. Anytime that there's a chase scene now with Ghostface and Gale Weathers in this next film, it's going to be suspenseful as all hell, because we really don't know if she's going to live or die in this next movie. Same with Sidney Prescott if she is in the film. Now, that takes me to my next point. I really don't want Scream to lose its main DNA, because there are a few things that make a Scream film. Otherwise, it's just a slasher franchise. It's just going to turn into a basic slasher movie, and I don't want Scream to just turn into a slasher movie. There are very big key elements of the Scream franchise that we've seen now in every single film and have made those movies, and have made them so different from like just a typical, another modern slasher. So first of all, you got to have meta commentary on something. We saw meta commentary on just movies in general in the last one, which I thought was cool. It was almost like world building in a weird type of way in the last film. But I do kind of want them to have more of a focus on just horror movies with the next one. I did appreciate what Scream 5 had to say, and that was really cool. I think the message there was awesome, but moving forward, let's have some kind of commentary on just horror. There's so much to talk about in the space of horror now that is completely different than how it was when the last Scream film came out in 2011. So I feel like let's talk about like A24 movies. Let's talk about the divide between why some people don't like A24 and they're longing for like 80s slashers again that were simplistic, bloody, gory, yada yada yada. Let's get that going. I want a whole commentary on that. That would be sweet. I feel like a Scream 6 could do a really good job at that. I feel like it would be really interesting. If we lose that, though, it's not a slasher flick. It is a slasher flick, I mean. It's not a Scream flick anymore, which is the problem. So don't lose that DNA. Like, if you want to take a darker approach to Scream, you can do that, but you still got to have that meta commentary. You have to have that meta humor, or else it's really not Scream. The whole point of Scream is to have a bunch of horror geeks go to this movie and get all the references. They make a bunch of jokes about the other popular horror franchises at the time because these characters are basically kind of living in the real world. That's the whole point of Scream. So you can't lose that. You also have to have a murder mystery element to a new Scream film, or else it's not going to work either. If you just reveal the killers in the first act, that's just going to suck. Anyways, but moving forward, I really think that if they're going to risk it all with the new Scream film, you got to do something different. You have to change it up a little bit, like, but you don't completely erase elements of what made Scream. For example, like, they have this murder mystery element in every movie. You're trying to figure out who the killer is. It always ends up pretty much being like two killers, and it's a big shock. Now, you can do murder mystery in a different style. For example, you can have all of your characters locked away in a cabin or something, and they're trying to figure out who's the one murderer, like it's a game of Clue. I'm just pitching. That's probably not what they're going to do for Scream 6, but my point is there are multiple different ways to do murder mystery. Let's play around with a different style of it. We've seen the same kind of style in all 5 of the movies. Let's do something different. It all takes place on one night. Let's not have it all go back to the original again, because like that's just getting old. The connections to the Loomis family, let's do something else. That's what I say. Don't lose the DNA of Scream, but let's do something different as well. Now, my third point is, which I know some people are going to strongly disagree with and some people are going to strongly agree with, because it's been a debate ever since Scream 5 got announced pretty much. Or even going back to some of the other films, people have been wanting this to happen. Bringing back a very, very, very dead character. Now, the problem with this, and listen, I would love to see Stu come back. If logically it could make sense to have him come back and he never died or he didn't go to prison or something, cool. That would be awesome. But like, it's probably not going to happen, because here's the thing. If it does happen, we will not see the Stu Macher we saw back in 96. It's going to be a much darker, more serious version of the character, and realistically, his motive would have to either do with Sam being connected to Billy Loomis or Sidney Prescott again. And we've seen the Sidney story play out, and it was awesome. 1, 2, and 3 they're phenomenal movies. I love them. But let's tell a new story. There are so many new stories we could tell in this universe with more people donning the Ghostface mask, coming after people to kill them. I think that's awesome. It doesn't have to connect to the original. I really don't think. I want to see legacy characters come back and help out our new characters, but we don't have to keep making this connection to Billy Loomis and Stu Macher. And bringing back Stu Macher is doing that. And you'd have to make it all about Sidney again, which I don't want to see. Like, we've seen that story already. I don't want to see that story continued just for like more money, more like just to get people to go to the cinema. You can tell a good story in this universe without making it all about Sidney Prescott again. There are more characters now that we can explore their backstory. We can develop them as characters. And maybe one day they can be as beloved as Gale Weathers or Sidney Prescott. I don't know Melissa Barrera's character all that well. We've seen her in one movie. Sam's a great character. She's awesome, but she's nowhere near the status of like Gale Weathers, Sidney Prescott. Maybe after 3 movies with her though, totally different story. So let's try to develop that character and get her up to that potential. She's not there yet, but she could be. Same with Tara, same with Mindy, same with Chad. Obviously, some of those people are going to die in the next movie. You have to make the murder mystery element work, but I would love to see some of these characters develop into our new legacy characters. Let's do it. I'm all about that. These characters have the potential to do that for me, and I would like to see that happen instead of focusing on Sidney Prescott and Gale Weathers. I would love them to be there, of course, but let's focus on these new characters. Let's build them up. Why not? The possibilities are endless in this franchise. I say let's try to do something new and different without losing what Scream is, without killing the legacy characters, and without bringing back dead characters. Because realistically, we've seen those characters play out in other movies, and it was great, and it was awesome. Stu's my favorite Ghostface killer, he is. But realistically, bringing him back isn't going to make any sense. It's going to be way too over the top, I think, and it's not going to be it's not going to be able to be as silly as he is. He's not going to be able to be that physical, silly Stu Macher that you know him as from the original movie. If he just spent the last like 25 plus years in prison, he's not going to be all goofy and jumping around and you know what I mean? He's not going to do that. No way. It would be completely unrealistic for that to happen. That's the most unrealistic part of it to me. Like if you want to write in that somehow he survived the TV falling on his face, that's fine. That's whatever. That's just horror movie writing. But if you decide to throw in there that he's still goofy and he still acts exactly the same as in 96, which realistically you'd have to do to satisfy people who want to see Stu come back, it's going to be completely unrealistic. It's going to be ridiculously polarizing to people who really like this franchise, and it's going to completely lose one more very important aspect of the Scream franchise. You're going to lose the fact that this is majorly based in reality. And that's something that's so great about these movies. They're the most based in reality out of any of the other slasher franchises because we have characters that deal with a lot of the same situations that real people do, especially when it comes to horror movie fandom, talking about horror movies that they love. There's always a character who is a major fan of horror movies in these films, and that just kind of goes to show what kind of movies these are. These are movies made by horror geeks for horror geeks. And that's why I love them so much. That's why there is such a love for the Scream franchise, because it's like the horror slasher franchise for like the geeks who love all these movies. And I'm one of them. I absolutely love the Scream franchise. I love what it stands for. It made horror cool again. That's awesome. That's great. I absolutely love what the Scream franchise did back in the 90s, and I love what it's continuing to do now. Now that it's been resurrected by the Tyler Gillette, the Radio Silence guys, Guy Busick, James Vanderbilt. I love what they're doing with the franchise personally. I'm very excited for 6, but I really do hope they avoid all these things. What do you guys think though? Do you think they will risk it all with this next movie? Will they kill both Gale Weathers and Sidney Prescott? I don't know, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching my new Scream 6 video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Sorry about the dirty April Fool's joke at the beginning there. I didn't mean to get everyone's hopes up, but come on, it was kind of funny. It's not as bad as what Fate Decided did, let's be honest. Anyways, also, please consider supporting me on Patreon as well. You'll be able to see an extra video every single week and even get some really cool options to get some new merch, which would be sick. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.